Hello everyone. In today's video I finally managed to come up with a plan for sharing the costs with you on one of our trips. Was almost a year ago really. So I was trying to kind of really just to sit down and go through that. It's been busy last few months especially. But yeah, so one of the trips which you're probably gonna see in the link above me, somewhere here or there, we went for 3 weeks. Was the end of December 2024, beginning of January, actually mid-January 2025. So we went for a lovely long trip to Europe really. Visiting France, south of France especially, that we spend the most time in, and also went to Italy. We did a bit of Liechtenstein and Switzerland, literally just caught it a little bit, and then drove back through Germany again, France and back home to Edinburgh. So I kind of kept a track of our expenses that I want to share with you today. So in today's video, hopefully you get an idea of the cost of this trip, 3 weeks trip around Europe, and then maybe you can kind of plan yourself. Just made really just a simple calculations, and hopefully they'll be a little bit helpful for yourselves. So keep watching. Okay guys, so my full understanding of the trip is better when I put the figures in, and that's what I'm trying to do on every single trip we do. So basic Excel really, with firstly budget we have to spend, and then categorizing every single expense in there. So first, well, most most important is how much you will need for your fuel. So our van fuel consumption is, I would say, pretty good. On a kind of standard motorway drive, I don't really drive more than 60 miles an hour, so I probably keep around 60 miles an hour to kind of keep the fueling or diesel on kind of decent level. So we technically do roughly, I'll say 27 miles per gallon, which gives us around 450 miles on the entire tank. Entire tank will be roughly 120 pounds to fill up. So for this trip, going from Edinburgh to Dover, taking the ferry from Dover to Calais, and driving around Europe, basically coming back again the same route, or roughly the same route, because on the way back we took the route through Germany. So it cost us exactly 777 pounds and 25 pence. You'll be able to see the figures on the screen. So that's basically the full fuel, carefully calculated on our trip, and yeah, just around 777 pounds. Other big expense was obviously food. So food means just a basic supermarket buys and supply before the trip as well. We've got our fridge, which is quite convenient and it's quite spacious, so we're able to top it up before the trip. Also the boxes where we kind of keep all the dry food and cans and a lot of stuff, essentials, which you will not have to buy it before. So that's totaling of 829 pounds and 32 pence. This figure excludes our kind of coffees, restaurants and places which we didn't really visit too much, so we tried to cook ourselves on our trip and try to keep the cost down. So other expenses like coffees, restaurants, um, was just over 79 pounds and 43 pence. So really not much kind of eating out, because obviously that could be the biggest expense. So just basic stuff, simple maybe dessert or simple cake and things like that. So a majority of the money we spend actually in Paris. So on our kind of first stops really, we spent a couple of nights in there, and yeah, that was kind of the most expensive desserts up from the trip, and the rest was just kind of simple brioche or kind of simple cakes in France or around Europe, but nothing major here. Um, Dogs, yeah, that's a big expense. So to get dogs from UK to Europe, you have to pay quite a lot of money, just over 250 pounds for two dogs, really. It's for allowing them to cross the channel and then get into Europe. So what you require is also your rabies vaccination, which we had before, and they are valid for a few years. We just need to have like boosters every couple of years, if I'm not wrong. And then your vet will tell you all the details you need. But that's been already organized on our previous trip, so we don't have to pay any money on that. But you pay around 250 pounds for two dogs in our case, for a 10 pages document translated into French, if you are crossing to France, or Dutch if you crossing to Holland, but Netherlands in that case, and yeah, that's kind of similar cost, and there's a set cost. And we used to be in the European Union, we didn't pay any fees, we just had a pet passport. But now obviously, since we left for years, every single trip costs us set 250 pounds just for the paperwork, and it's not valid for a year, it's not valid for months, it's valid just for one trip. So every single trip we pay this set fee. On the way back, we have to see and visit a vet up to 120 hours before crossing. So you have between 24 and 120 hours to see vet abroad, coming back to UK, and that's usually around 100 euros. Depends on where you stay and where you go, which vet you use. In our case, the total fees of vets and other bits was £393 and 37 pence. We had additional fee here. I can see £51 on 29th. I think that was something related to issues with our dog. They had some, I think, diarrhea or something. We had to buy tablets from vets to kind of get them through that. That was in the middle of the trip. So you have to calculate additional expense on buying things for your dogs if you need it. Obviously, they're not being covered. You just need to get your expense and money yourself. Then we managed to secure quite a cheap, I would say, ferry. So if you book well in advance, you can get like a decent return price. So we paid £331 and 15 pence for ferry crossing. So that's the cheapest option. We could go through the tunnel and take the train, but that was around 450 that time. Where saving up £120, even though the timing wise obviously it's longer. It's just over 2 hours crossing. We thought it's still kind of worth saving that money, so we spent on the ferry instead. Other expenses, so motorways is a big one, because in France and in that case as well in Italy, so we're crossing going through under Mont Blanc tunnel, and that was very expensive, around €75, if I remember well. You can see the video from crossing that just here as well, and that was quite expensive. So France overall quite expensive. You pay for motorways if you wanna quickly cross, or Italy as well, quite expensive, but totaling of £295 and 80 pence just the motorways alone. So yeah, big chunk here. We had a bit of expenditures as well around different areas. So campsite, we didn't really spend too much time on campsite. The only time we've been was Spain. I think we booked 3 nights. The rest of the stays was pretty much either airs. In France, that was quite cheap, around £10–15 every time, and the most expensive was the campsite. So we booked a campsite only once. I don't think we're gonna book again. We're just gonna stay in airs or free places. That's what most of the time we'll do. So campsites were £139 and 4 pence. And we had additional services, motorhome services. Sometimes you had to pay like £5 for water and emptying the tanks, and that was totaling of £36 and 35 pence. And then a few of the park ups as well, just a kind of minimal payments of £26 and 36 pence. So overall, campsites just around £160, £170. So if you would take this kind of official campsite off, that would be very small fee you pay for staying. Most of the places are free. So yeah, definitely great to travel in a camper van, and then overnights, payments are not so crazy when you stay in hotels or Airbnbs around. So from the major stuff, we spent some money on souvenirs. Again, not too much, just £95 and 4 pence. But souvenirs, I mean, mainly stickers. We're collecting stickers from our trips, and some of the kind of tiny bits or useful things. Not really clothing and stuff like that. It's just kind of simple things, tiny bits for kids as well. So yeah, that kind of closes up, and yeah, so that's the main things from what I can see on my screen here. Yeah, we had just kind of tiny bits, nothing crazy. So yeah, I mean, park ups obviously is a good and kind of place where you can save it, because like I said, I was just looking at the screen over here, we've got literally majority free park ups, and then that was very convenient. And yeah, the total spending for the entire trip, obviously I don't calculate cost of running this van, because that's another thing, and probably another video I will do of the running cost of this van, because obviously it's not free. You pay for your insurance, you pay for your road tax, you pay for maintenance if there is any fixtures to be done. We recently upgraded the battery, leisure battery again. So the things like this are not calculated in this initial cost of holidays. So if you add this one up, obviously that'll be definitely much more expensive. But if you think about just the trip alone and just those 3 weeks driving, staying, eating, and all the expenses altogether, that came up to £3,096 and 74 pence. So let me know in the comments as well if you think £3,000 is expensive, or is it a lot of money for 3 weeks traveling around Europe, or you think it's not so expensive, or if you manage to keep the cost slightly lower on your side if you've been traveling. Let me know. It'll be good to hear from you, and maybe you have some ideas on where to save it as well. I'm sure there's a savings there when we go through smaller roads in France and places, but then you traveling slower. We wanted to kind of cover a lot of places, so therefore we were trying to use motorways. But yeah, let me know what you think, and yeah, I look forward to see you again on my next video. And please press the like button, subscribe to my channel if you'd like to hear more about our trips or about our van, and any tips on traveling. Yeah, let's stay connected, and see you on the next one. Take care, guys.